So Simon Bennett, the executive producer of Power Rangers, commented on my video talking about him leaving the franchise, and I speculated about the bullying that's been going on and the irritation that it has caused Simon, that these people are just being really rude online, not being polite to him. I speculated whether or not that was the main reason he was leaving the franchise, and this was before we really knew they were leaving New Zealand. But Simon did reassure me they were really just minor irritations. He's got a really thick skin, I think. But since that comment, it kind of put to rest my thoughts of the toxicity of the fandom. But soon after that, we learned about Andrew Laing's departure from the franchise. And that was due to harassment and bullying to him online. Simon stated real last straw was somebody commenting that he ruined their childhood for doing the voice of Lord Zed. Simon and Andrew went to film school together, the Toi Whakaari New Zealand Drama School. Simon, of course, is sticking behind his friend. They were there at the same time. We all should be sticking behind Andrew Laing on this one because he's got a long time history with the franchise. Andrew's been obsessed with movies ever since he was a child. He actually said he really wanted to be in movies, and that was before he understood that acting was actually a career. He does most of his work in the theater. He was in a national tour of The Sound of Music where he played Admiral von Schreiber. I should really ham that up. My grandma's from Austria, so I should be better with German, but I'm not. I'm sorry. He played Freddie in Cabaret, Calpurnia in Julius Caesar, Brother Vianney, probably saying all these wrong, in the show Wonderful, and lots more. He's done a lot of theater work throughout New Zealand and Australia. He's given probably the best advice I've ever heard to anyone who wants to get into acting, and I think it translates to music as well because I'm a music person. If you can see yourself doing anything else besides that career, go do that. Music, acting, all those things, there's going to come a point in life where you sit there and go, well, this just isn't worth it. I'm not really getting paid enough to put myself through this, gauntlet, you could say. That's probably the best advice I've ever heard anybody give, honestly. I've done music for a long time, and yeah, for sure, there's times where it just doesn't feel worth it. But Andrew's big start into TV was primarily on the show Shortland Street, which is a soap opera in New Zealand. Back in 1996 and 1997, he played a character named Nigel Bailey. He also did one episode of a show called Emmerdale Farm. He did a short called Philosophy, and then he returned to Shortland Street in 2003 to play Dr. Greenlaw. Or was Dr. Greenlaw Nigel Bailey the whole time? No, he wasn't actually. But on that show, he got to work with Anna Hutchinson, who of course is in Jungle Fury. He started putting himself out there to do voice acting, which is honestly nuts to me. Just listen to this guy's voice.
The only thing that'll interrupt your reading is the beautiful view. Your holiday starts with the Inter-Islander line.
What? Wouldn't you think from the start he would be doing voice acting? He's done voiceover for National Geographic, and he's also gotten to do some audiobooks for the Foundation of the Blind in New Zealand. After Shortland Street, he jumped into the world of Power Rangers, where he played Copy Otter in Dino Thunder, Deluxe in SPD, Oculus in Mystic Force for 2 episodes, and his only in-person appearance on Power Rangers is when he played Master Lope in Jungle Fury for 3 episodes, which he got to reunite with Shortland Street actress Anna Hutchinson. And of course, his most famous role on Power Rangers would be Venjix from RPM. And if RPM is one of the most beloved seasons by longtime fans, he was an outstanding villain. Venjix is kind of credited as being one of the best villains of all time because he actually succeeded in destroying the world. If you haven't seen RPM is based in a post-apocalyptic world where the whole entire world has been conquered by this computer virus named Venjix, and there's one small tiny city being protected by the Power Rangers that is still standing. He took a little bit of a hiatus at this point. He did Legend of the Seeker, he did Spartacus, Gods of the Arena, Underbelly, Land of the Long Green Cloud, and he was in the movie Deathgasm, which starred Kimberly Crossman, Milo Cathorn. Now he returned to Power Rangers in Megaforce, where he played the Messenger, Heximus in Dino Charge, and Jack O'Lantern Judge in Dino Charge and Ninja Steel. Then of course he made his return to Power Rangers as a longtime villain in Beast Morphers, where he played Evox, who we all found out, spoiler alert, it's Venjix. Now, this was such a big deal that he was returning to the show to play this character and that it was going to end up being Venjix that they actually didn't even use his real name. They used the name Randall Ewig instead of Andrew Laing, and it's a monogram of his name flipped around. Andrew Laing. This was a huge deal that a lot of people I don't think quite understand. He got a call from his agent and they really didn't have any information for him. They just said there's something in the works. We want you to be a part of it. We need you to be a part of it, but you got to keep it hush hush. So he did find out that Evox was going to be Venjix, but he had to keep it a complete secret and he couldn't tell people. And he even mentions in an interview that he had to people would ask him, oh, what are you going off to do? And he'd have to just say, oh, I can't tell you. That's how big of a deal it was. When it came time to pick someone to do Lord Zed, bringing back this iconic character, one of the most beloved characters of all time, Andrew Laing was definitely a name that should be on the list. Andrew Laing's done a great job for the fandom, for the show, and he's a wonderful actor. He jumped on and did Lord Zed for 5 episodes in Dino Fury. The big news is that we found out that Andrew Laing won't be returning for Cosmic Fury to do Lord Zed. We're going to get a different actor, and it's really sad because it's the ending of this 30-year era. The show's leaving New Zealand. He's the Venjix voice. He's one of the best parts of this show, and he is not going to get to send off this character and send off this season. I hope maybe he gets to do a villain of the day or something, but it's really sad to me that he's not going to get to be a part of it due to the bullying that's been online. Anybody who just has this desire to go online and just start bashing actors for doing their job, you just have this loser mentality where you're always complaining, you're always in a bad mood. And I mean, come on, man, get over yourself. Go find something to do. Go for a walk or something. Like, blow off steam in a different way. I don't think people quite understand that New Zealand is a very small country. At least, like, I'm from America. America is gigantic. It's huge. And people don't really understand this is a very small place, and the acting world is even smaller. You know, these actors are not generally going to the Oscars every year. They don't receive constant praise on late night talk shows or anything like that. There's an article back in 2011 where Andrew Laing actually stated that he takes the bus a lot of times to his jobs. So he's not even taking, some fancy car. He's taking like public transportation. And so a lot of their ways they really communicate with fans or get out there is social media. People who are complaining and telling him they're ruining his childhood, they're just hearing from these negative people, and it sucks. And it just, grow up, people. Come on. If you really want to jump into Power Ranger lore, his voice was great. This was supposed to be Lord Zed at his prime. They copied Lord Zed at a point where he was at the top of his game. And when he got in with Rita in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and all that stuff, he became more of a goofy character. He sort of lost his edge, so to say. And this aggressive voice that they kind of manipulated a little bit and had Andrew Laing do was perfect. It was exactly what it needed to be. It needed to be scary, and it was supposed to be, and it was. So the people who are complaining, you just want the original voice, even though you don't care about the lore of Power Rangers and why his voice is that way. Andrew Laing deserves way better than this treatment. Super, super talented. He's a singer. He's performed with the Wellington Orchestra, and he did a piece with them, Symphony Fantastique. I should know how to say that because I majored in music, but I don't really know. I'm a jazz guy, sorry. He's also a really fantastic person. I mean, when Once and Always came out, it was a big deal that there was a gay couple in it, and he's been a very open gay person his whole life. And even when he played Dr. Greenlaw in Shortland Street, they wrote in that the character was going to come out, but he wasn't coming out that he was gay. He was coming out that he was Nigel Bailey the whole time.
No, he wasn't. He was gay. That was the point.
This was the first time in 18 years of his career that he got to play a gay character. And in 2003, at least in America, it was a pretty big deal to getting more normal, but it was still a little tough still at that point. There was an article where he stated, and I think this is really great, I don't mean anything noble about this, but someone has to. What I don't want to have to do is hide anything about my life. I don't want to be a subject of innuendo or gossip. And the biggest thing for me is I don't want to be a hypocrite. I tell you what, I don't want to be a hypocrite in my life. I think that's a very noble way to live your life. I truly respect him for stating that and just being completely open about who he was and not hiding it because, maybe some people might think that's a career move. I don't know. But yeah, he's always been, he just seems to be a really great person. And he's also majorly talented in a lot of ways. I mean, as a theater person, you probably do a lot of different stuff. He's a great dancer. He does ballroom, contemporary, and jazz dance. He knows fencing. He's done gymnastics. He's done horseback riding. Do I have to remind you? Just listen to this voice.
The Alpha 2000 series of aircraft, formerly known as Robin.
Silky smooth, man. Silky smooth.
Andrew Laing, I love what you did for Power Rangers. Thank you so much. I thought you did a great job at Lord Zed. You deserve so much better from fans. I wish you were part of Cosmic Fury, but I totally understand why you aren't. I hope the best of luck to you. I know you're not really going to be hurting. You have a great career. You're a great person. Thank you so much for everything you've done in Power Rangers. These aren't comic book characters. You know, they didn't come out of an idea or something on paper. Like, these are actual actors who are playing these people from the start. When someone passes away, or what are we going to do? You know, are we going to recast them? Are we going to, especially people in the suits like Lord Zed, it's like, are we not going to accept any other actor doing that part? And it really raises the question with this whole reboot in the works. You know, are people even going to give it a chance? Or are they just going to be mad? Well, that's not the real Tommy. That's not my Tommy, or that's not this. I don't know what they're going to do if they're going to reboot these characters, because it seems like everybody just wants to rip on anything new that's not the same as it used to be. If they're going to rip on it so bad, that's going to be too little too late. You know, like the 2017 movie got a lot of flack when it came out, and now people are realizing, hey, it was actually
A pretty darn good movie.
but it's, too little too late. They had hoped to do a whole, movie franchise off of it, but we just weren't really accepting of it. Shouldn't say we, because I loved it. But if this is the mentality of the community, I mean, are we just screwed? Are we never going to be able to move forward if we try to reboot anything? If everything's just negative feedback, then Hasbro's just going to cut it, and get rid of it. We have to have at least one big blowout movie. Like Transformers had one major hit when that first movie came out, and it launched a franchise that's still going today. And some movies are good, some of them are bad. I did the Rise of the Beasts, and I wasn't a big fan of it, but it's still, they're probably still going to make more. It didn't ruin it because they had that success at the beginning. But, these people who are attacking Andrew Laing and they're getting mad about this stuff, it's okay that you don't watch Power Rangers, every season 100 times. But when you haven't participated in the fandom that often, or you just kind of jump in here and there, it's easy to criticize things that you really don't understand. Or like an actor who's been a part of this franchise for years, and you sit there and you badmouth him or go after him when he's like kind of royalty. He's a veteran of this franchise, and you're just going at him like he's some putz that, isn't worth anything. And we should be more grateful to him. Me and my wife are big fans of the show Survivor, and I've heard Jeff Probst, who's the host of that show, talk about how they have good seasons and they have bad seasons, but the fans who stick with them through everything help them, because sometimes they hit a season that wasn't that great, but it gave them this perspective to try something new that ended up being a really, really great season. Be respectful towards people like Andrew. They're great people who have been building this show for years and years, and we should all show a little more love towards them. I think if you knew Andrew Laing or listened to him for just a few minutes, I think you'd honestly fall in love with the guy. And he has so many great things to say. He's so kind. He's respectful. I think having respect for the people who are on the show is how we keep this franchise going. I'm going to leave off on this clip from Morphin Network's YouTube channel. I hope they're okay with me playing this, but it's an interview they did with Andrew Laing a few years ago, and I think that this clip sums it up perfectly.
I think everybody should. It's really important to know where we came from and how we got to where we are now.